Hey everyone, good afternoon. Just gonna be streaming for like 1 hour because I have a French lesson. Uh, Started watching like the soccer match, France versus Morocco, but like I'm not a fan of football, so fuck that. Uh, yeah. Dude, how do you hide previews on a dust bar? Show thumbnails. Oh, I have to restart? Okay. The reason I want to disable it is that sometimes there's like personal information I don't want to show that on stream. Okay, I guess I'll restart. I'll restart and should fix it. So, last time I stopped at the sneak. So, one sneak press and release. And I was thinking about merging both with the key weight. So we're going to copy paste these codes, comment everything. So what we're going to do is merge those two functions. So just to recap, the problem is that sneaking in Gothic 1, you have the animation that you have the transition from being standing up and going into sneak, or going from sneak to standing up. It takes some time. And in that time, you should not be able to like press the key again. Like basically, you should not be able to like to spam shit until the animation is over, right? So everything is fine. If you hold the key and release it when the animation is over. But if you just tap the key and release before the the transition is over, then basically it acts as a toggle. And what I'm trying to do is to add like some delay. So that your character stands up if you release the key before the sneaking animation is like over. Going from standing up to sneaking. So when you sneak, so here I do not have the script running. When you're sneaking, by default in the game it's a toggle. So I tap the key, I stay crouched, I tap the key again, I go back to standing up. So you see I'm spamming the key, but it doesn't go like, it doesn't follow the spam. Like some taps are just ignored. Like especially if I'm not moving. If it's on the key press, that shit happens. But obviously if you spam it, your character is not going to be like toggling between each standing state, I would say. All the time. Because there is like an internal cooldown in the game. Like it has to wait for the end of the animation. Otherwise the key press is just ignored. So what I'm trying to do is, since it's a sneak toggle in the game, I want to turn it into a sneak hold. But it needs to be programmed specifically for the game to account for the animation. Because if you do a sneak hold, basically a sneak hold, so you turn the toggle into a hold, basically you send a release and you send a key press and release when you press the key, and when you release the key, you send the key press and release. Basically turning it into a hold key to simulate a hold key, because it's a toggle key initially. So I took the approach of like having two separate functions, one on key press, one on key release. But it seems like if I button mash, it breaks the flow. So what I want to do instead is merge the two functions, but use a key weight in the middle. Okay, so this is going to be controlled by B sneaking. If B sneaking is 1, basically it's never going to get executed. I may have to remove the pass-through modifier. So the key is blocked. So first thing we do, we tap the key. That's assuming that the key is not blocked. So we tap the key. And then based on whether we were moving forward or not, we hardcode 200 ms or 500 ms before being able to release the key, aka tapping the key again. So here, I'm putting a key weight, 1 successful, timeout occurred 0. Okay, so instead of this, basically, if key weight with a timeout of 0.2 or 0.5, basically if you release the sneak key before it reaches the timeout, or actually after it reaches the timeout, then you're safe to toggle sneak off. Otherwise, you need to delay. Yeah, let me just see if I'm seeing things right. I think I need to check the key state after the key weight also. Okay, so we tap the key. Let's say we release the key before the animation is over. If you release it before the animation is over, key wait is going to return true. Because no timeout occurred, which means we delay. Make sure it's the contrary. Oh, it's the same. Wait, key wait returns true. If released, we release before. Okay, no, like this. If we release before, we need to delay. Otherwise, we just double sneak off. And sometimes, like often, I think about programming at night while sleeping. I get ideas in the morning that I note down. And I think, if I remember, I was supposed to check if the key was still physically pressed or not. But I don't remember why. Like after the key wait. Let's say time's out. AK it's off. Yeah, here I need to check if the key is still being held. Maybe put another key wait. Because you basically have 3 scenarios. So you have 3 scenarios. First scenario, you press the sneak hold key. You release it before the animation is over. So if you release it before the animation is over, aka before the timeout, key wait is going to return true. But since it was before the animation is over, we need to delay the next tap of the key. Okay, so set timer with like minus something. Like this should be a minus the negative value. I'm going to ignore this. I think my calculation here is wrong. It should be like this. Like this, and then minus. It should be minus all of this. And my calculation is wrong, maybe that's why. Maybe that's why. Okay. So sneak delay. Here we just want to print the sneak delay. Okay, so I said first case scenario. You release the key before the animation is over. Which means we need to delay the tap of the key. But also prevent the key from being pressed again. Which is the purpose of this boolean here. The boolean is delayed because here we fall under in the situation that the use case that I just explained. Set timer delays the execution of the function. The function taps the key, sets the boolean back to 0, which allows us to press the key again. Out if when active, and all states be sneaking is false. So that's the first use case. The two other use cases is you keep holding the key. Actually, no, there's just two use cases. Either you release the key before the animation is over, or you release it after. If you release it after, we fall in the time. We fall under the timeout. So key wait is going to return false. So we're going to be here. So basically you're going to wait until we release the key. But here we are past the ending of the animation, so it should be fine. like in theory. So let's run this. Yeah. Need to run this in the window. What? Supposed to be window? I think I need. Oh yeah, I need to restart the game. Double star. You must restart the game. Hopefully it's window this time. But if it's not, I'll force it through the config file. User. Okay, this window. No borders. Fuck, I don't mean to do new game, bro. Okay, so here I just want to see the traces in the VS Code. So here I'm going to hold the key for longer than the animation. Okay, I'm still pressing the key, but for some reason something happened. Okay, maybe I need to block the key. Because there was an infinite loop. Wait, what? Oh, I still had controls. I still had control pressed. Wait, why is it here? I know. I know why I'm supposed to... Wait. The get key state... Not technically. Oh, no, I remember why. Okay. So you have an infinite loop. I know why I need to check get key state. Whether you're still holding control. It's because when you're here... So when you're here... Here I send the tap of the key. A tap is a key down, a key up. But you can still physically be holding the key. So basically... Wait, but if I send the key down... wait, hold on. The weight by default checks for the physical release. There is a special case with control, I think. Physically released. It will wait for the key to be physically released, which is what I want. If the keyboard hook is not installed. I always forget what modifier installs the keyboard hook. I think it's $. You have like a bunch of conditions. Don't ask me what is the keyboard hook, I don't remember. Q hotkeys menu item. Left control. Keyboard hook. I know there is an example with control. This one. Detects when a key has been double pressed. Physical state of a key will be the same as logical state unless hook is installed. Well, the hook is installed. Check the logical state. Wait for the key to be pushed down. I don't understand what I'm doing wrong in my code. Okay, so let's try again. Except this time I'm gonna tap the key. Okay, so there's an infinite loop somewhere. Sting delay minus 30. Yeah, I think it's because of the changes I did to minus thingy. Of course. Mid sneak delay is no longer 200 and 500. Yeah, let's put this back to 200, 500. Because it was MS, but I changed them. I changed it to 100, yeah, divided by 1000. Okay, so that should work fine. So it means sneak delay MS. Time since press, it's tick counts. I think these are like pretty much milliseconds. Yeah, milliseconds. Here we divide milliseconds by 1000 to get the number of seconds. We multiply by 1000 by, well, yeah, we divide by 1000. It's the same than multiplying that by 0.0001. And then mean sneak delay, so 200, and the time counts. Basically, sneak delay, it's like how much time there is left to reach 500 or 200. So if you release the key after like 20 milliseconds, this would be 180. So 200 minus 20 milliseconds, 180. Therefore, you delay this by 180, and it should no longer create an infinite loop. So if I type the key, sneak delay 469. Wait, there's something wrong. Oh, time since press. Okay, no, the key weight should be somewhere else. Key weight should be stored in the boolean. Strange, it takes 31 milliseconds every time to execute. Oh, no, it makes sense. This takes 25 ms. Okay, so this takes 6 ms, 6 ms. Yeah, makes sense, I guess. Okay, so the key weight needs to be here instead. Timeout's gonna be Boolean. Not timeout actually, it's like success. Okay, it's not a good variable name, but like that will do for now. Or result. Result. Okay, so we have the key weight before the next snapshot. Otherwise, it's always 32, 31, which makes sense. So now it should work better. So I type the key. Time since press 62. If I tap but holding a little bit longer, but before the animation is over. Sneak delay 125. It's strange because I cannot tap the key faster than 62 ms. No, I can. Yeah, I can. But the normal tap of a human being seems to be you're like holding the key for like 63 ms. If I do it like the fastest I can. Fastest is like 47 ms. Okay, if I spam, it is still a problem. Oh, I know what the problem is. The problem is if you press the key again before it even reached the timeout. Because here I'm assuming yeah, I think it's not a bug I'm going to fix. Because basically, let's say here I was not moving. If you're not moving, it takes 500 ms for the animation to complete. So if you're not moving, it takes more or less 500 milliseconds for your character to be crouching or your character to be standing. Problem is, once you turn this key into a hold key, so logically you would expect the user to... I'm talking about like cycles of like crouching and standing up. You would expect the user to just press and release the key once. Something like this. Okay, there's a problem. Is there a problem? Is the function timed out? But I put a key weight here. And for some reason, it just goes through. Even though I'm still physically holding the key. So if I'm holding the key the entire time, waiting for sneak release. Okay, let me check. This is not passed through. There's a bug. I remember seeing something in the documentation about control. I think it's when I saw it in the examples. Caps lock. When pressing this hotkey, wait for the user to physically release caps lock. As a result, subsequent statements are performed on release instead of press. Okay. Numpad add remaps a key or mouse button. This example is only for illustration because it would be easier to use the built-in remapping feature. In the following hotkey, the mouse button is kept held down while numpad add is down, which effectively transforms numpad add into a mouse button. And it's this one, I think. The text when a key has been double pressed, similar to double click. Key wait is used to stop the keyboard's auto repeat feature from creating an unwanted double press when you hold down the right control to modify another key. It does this by keeping the hotkeys thread running, which blocks the auto repeats by relying upon max threads per hotkey being at its default setting of 1. For a more elaborate script that distinguishes between single, double, and triple presses, see set timer example 3. Dude, I saw it fucking yesterday, man. I know there is something about control that you need to do. You need to let it pass through. But I don't remember where I saw this example. Oh, here. Okay, so we already stated that it's the physical state of the mouse, of the key, that key weight looks for by default. So left control is using the keyboard hook, so it does wait for the physical release of control. You wait for only one key. Modifier keys. Okay, this part is important. Modifier keys, modifier key hotkeys, Control, Alt, and Shift. Prefix key hotkeys. And key up hotkeys fire upon release rather than press down. What do you mean they fire upon release? So when waiting for their trigger key within their definition, the result may differ from what is expected, especially if the timeout option is used. For example, the following code does not work as intended because keywait only sees the release of alt, so it will never time out. The code always shows pressed, no matter how long you hold the key. To account for this, you will need to add the tile prefix to make the modifier key fire upon press down instead. In other words, replace alt with tiled alt to make it work as intended. Except I tried it with the tiled and it still doesn't work as I want. I mean, no, technically it does work. My code does work. It's just that if you press the key again, like if you button mash, it fucks things up because it falls under. I'm gonna have to go in 10 minutes. You button mash. I mean, there's no reason you would button mash. But basically, because the second tap is delayed. With the boolean. Like the key is just ignored. Dude, you can do something like this. Okay, hold on. I may have to go earlier than expected. Okay, yeah, I'll have to go in like 5 minutes. We won't have time to finish this. I'm gonna sneak. Off. Of course, I can sneak on. I don't need this and this anymore. This is called a nested function. I found the name in the documentation. Basically, it's a function that can only be called from within this function. Like if you try to call toggle sneak, It doesn't exist anywhere else. And this, what is nice is that this function, like the scope of this function, is all of this. But the scope of this function is just this. And obviously the function itself. Like it doesn't have access to variables declared inside the nested function. So basically, in a normal scenario, the user will not be tapping control. Or at least, if he does tap control, he will not be like tapping control twice. In a normal scenario. Because this is the problem. If you tap control twice before the this timeout, before it times out, before keywait times out here, then it creates the bug. But I mean, turning like a toggle key into a hold key, but you button mash the key, and it's tied to the animation. For this is because it doesn't have a parameter. You can either do bind 0 here, or you just specify default value. Wait, what? Your double doesn't work anymore. I don't know what happened. Oh, you were supposed to delay this. Yeah, let me remove them. The tile because I think it's fucking things up. Alright, still buggy. I have to go. I'd like to be streaming for longer, but I can't. I have a French class, so it's like in the middle of my stream time. So I'll be back in like 2 hours. Thanks for watching. Have a good evening. Peace.